Howdy. Oh god. I forgot to switch the title of the stream. The TTS is reading every keystroke the chat puts in. This is foreshadowing, isn't it? Alright, let's see what kind of epic name the chat will bestow upon us this run. Oh, are we doing Abby? Twitch Plays Undertale Abby real? Oh, never mind. Guess we're deleting it. F. Truly, this is the greatest name in Undertale history. One of my favorite things in any Twitch Plays series is seeing what sorts of clever names the community will make out of the random keystrokes we input. For example, Twitch Plays Pokemon has Abby, the Charmeleon, the Nidoking, which the fandom nicknamed the Fonz for his catchphrase. "'Cause I'm the Fonz, huh? Hey! And my favorite, ATV, or Alterate Venomoth. For FFFFF, I kind of expected the chat to abridge this nickname to FE because that's what my lazy loaf would have done, but they surprised me by actually counting the number of Fs here and striving to incorporate that into the nickname. A few people suggested naming them Fee because there are 5 Fs and 5 in Roman numerals is V, so FFFV or Fee. But by far the most popular nickname seemed to be Wit because it's one letter off from the hexadecimal code for white. So, white, minus the last letter, to get wit. Clearly, my stream is full of geniuses. Actually, cheap jokes aside, I adore the way Twitch Plays chats tend to move the character. It feels so deliberate, yet so random, in a way that is impossible to put into words. I especially love the way this setup turns what was once a boring, uneventful walk down a hallway into this epic struggle of wills that the music always implied this to be. Watching the chat try to save the game is a harrowing experience that utterly defies description. Like, we go up the stairs, open the menu, down the stairs, do this little stutter walk and wait a second. Holy congadero, I accidentally ran 2 versions of the console and now it takes and deploys inputs twice. What? How? This is fine. I'll just close the second one now. Wait, how did we get 5 Fs for a name if it takes every input twice? Speaking of the console, I know what a lot of you are about to say. HalfBread, you said you don't know how to code. Where did you get the console? But listen, I don't know how to code. This code was initially written by Henry Fundenberger, also known as Fake Henry, and once I got my hands on it, I basically copy-pasted his already existing scripts with wild abandon until the whole thing had evolved from mere spaghetti code into a Cthulhian nightmare monster that afflicts all who behold it with madness. And I know you think that's a joke, but I assure you, it is not. My apologies to all the innocent coders harmed by their exposure to this monster. Like, this thing only works because we bug-tested the heck out of it, and some things were impossible to catch before it went live. The order mode, for example, was initially quite buggy because my sample size in testing was like 20 people, whereas the stream has, oh god, there's 220 people witnessing my terrible, janky stream? Oh geez. Okay, look, some of this isn't even my fault, alright? Some of this is just Toby. Let me show you an example. So in Undertale, when you press right and left at the same time in the overworld, left takes priority over right. And that's fine for a normal play, but as you might imagine, when over 200 people are all mashing random buttons on the keyboard, some of those people are going to be pressing left, and when they do, that one single left press will override the wills of literally hundreds of other people attempting to make progress. So imagine you're me, you don't know how to code, and people are begging you to code up a solution to this error. Do you figure out how to patch the console so that any right presses will immediately override the left presses? Or do you copy-paste the chaos order voting system a few dozen times so the chat can hold a vote to disable certain buttons? If you picked B, then congratulations, you are now a certified loaf of bread. This is probably fine. I'm sure nothing weird will come as a result of this. This is fine. One thing Twitch Plays Pokemon did not prepare me for was the strange psychological effect that a game like Undertale has on the stream. As unlike Pokemon, Undertale has a multifaceted world that evolves and shifts in response to your every branching decision. So this actually caused the chat to start forming a very complicated web of factions and alliances that, honestly, frightens me every time I try to look into it. Like, look at this madness. What is even happening here? I could probably make an entire video dedicated to just the strange gang wars of this stream, but for the purposes of simplicity, let's just say that the first few minutes of this stream had a lot of resetting, saving, and loading, as various groups struggled for control over the narrative, even over seemingly minor decisions that do not impact the overall story, such as, if we destroyed the training dummy, or ate the pie. We backtracked into this room so many times, people started to grow attached to this pillar and nicknamed it Pilreal. That was pretty weird. And yet, the knowledge that there are organized groups of people dedicated to killing everything in the ruins, actively fighting against equally organized, equally determined groups trying to stop them, makes little decisions, like the sparing of the first frogget, seem like shockingly lucky strokes of pacifism. But why? Why would the chat want to kill everything in the ruins? Well, you see, it's all part of a little plan they like to call Operation Glad Dummy. You see, while Mysticslime was doing his Chat Plays Undertale on YouTube, he discovered that the Mad Dummy is something of a death trap, as it's ridiculously easy for the players to accidentally waste all their items, then save, and thus find themselves facing a fairly hard boss fight with no way to retreat or obtain more heals. So the Twitch chat figured if they could pull us into a genocide run, that would maximize the amount of HP we have and allow us to skip the Mad Dummy, as in a Geno run, they turn into the Glad Dummy, which is instantly sparable and a one-hit kill. Because sparing the Glad Dummy kicks you back out of a genocide route, it would also allow the player to obtain the Tem armor. Probably. In theory. I actually had no idea this was the plan, so to me, the constant illogical kills, spares, restarts, and resets seemed to be potential bugs in the system I needed to patch, instead of the unfiltered chaos of 100 humans fighting over the controller. But eventually, the Glad Dummy gang, the fighters, and a newly created Leaf gang successfully came together to ban the left and right buttons, thus forcing us to grind near the save point, until finally, after 7 straight hours of struggle. The real question now was, could they save the game before the counter groups managed to pull them into order mode and trigger a restart? First, they need to vote to unban the left and right buttons. Good. Now we just need to walk to the... Oh, that is the candy room. Down. Okay, we made it. Now we just have to... Oh, so close, yet so far. What if we... This is good. We can use this to coordinate our up presses. Oh, never mind. Okay, we made it again. Now okay, never mind. Holy Congadero, this is suspenseful. You would think this could be solved by just switching to order so we can coordinate presses, but I unintentionally made order terrifying by locking the escape button so that it's only accessible in order mode. So, rather than risk losing their progress to another restart, the chat just kept desperately trying to reach the save point for over 10 minutes until... Phew. Now, for the true ultimate challenge, the leaf puzzle. To beat this room, the chat must follow an invisible path with perfect precision, as any steps taken off of this path cause the player to fall, which forces them to start again from the beginning. If you fail 10 times, Toby takes mercy on you and disables the puzzle. However, the counter for how many times you failed resets each time you leave the room. But finally, after over an hour and a half, thank goodness it doesn't have to be a new hole each time, otherwise we'd probably be here for weeks, right? Anyway, moving on to the next room, wait. Holy Congadero? What? Did we just walk through the wall? How? Opening up the map, it looks like Toby just sorta forgot to put a wall here. I love that we didn't even do this on purpose. Chat just kind of found this on accident due to their inability to walk in a straight line. Anyway, we struggled to buy donuts for 5 straight minutes, and then struggled even harder not to eat them, which you can kind of understand. It may be hard to hold on to the donut for that long, but if we succeed, we get to skip the Muffet fight. But what's much funnier to me is the desperate 15-minute struggle that Chad went through to obtain the faded ribbon. As it's basically useless in this kind of route, But by God, were some of the chatters determined to get it. We walked under the hole. We fell down the wrong hole. We fell down the correct hole but failed to pick it up multiple times. We flipped the switch to solve the puzzle, but we didn't have the ribbon. So obviously, we had to go back for it. At one point we almost got the ribbon, but some laggy chatter accidentally said, "up," which caused us to walk through this door, narrowly missing it. So then someone got the bright idea. What if we just ban up, thinking they'd fall down the correct hole and then have no choice but to get the ribbon. Foolproof. Oh wait, that's the wrong hole. Oh, now we're trapped. Oops. Finally, after 10 straight minutes, we got the ribbon. Mission accomplished. Wait. Are they trying to equip it? Chat? Chat, no. The donut. Watch out for the... Don't cry. The spider didn't. I'm honestly shocked we didn't just go back and buy another donut. I mean, we had plenty of gold and could have easily afforded it, but after 20 straight minutes of struggle, we finally made it through the last of the Switch Puzzles tutorial, where we continued on our quest to... Or not. I guess we are going back for the donut after all? No? Just gonna make the switches feel uncomfortable, are we? I didn't even know this dialogue existed, so carry on, I guess. You ever watch a chat struggle to reach their bedroom for 10 straight minutes? A thing of beauty, really. At last, we got the pie, managed to not eat it, and finally faced off against Toriel. With so many chatters united over her demise, I figured this fight would be quick and painless, as hundreds of people from 5 different gangs mashed Z on the fight button in unison. But the opposition, formed of 3 separate pacifist-aligned factions, surprised me by managing to scoot off the fight button in the nick of time and hop over to the check button. This strategy can't work long-term, as spare is needed to progress the fight, but the image this paints of Frisk, staring longingly at the goat mom they will never know, hands trembling with the conflict, is rather profound, and they actually managed to do it for several rounds, before finally the dark deed was done.
A life of regret, a past that haunts her, the children she couldn't stop, now she's to the slaughter. Fire, fire, fire.
This is just terrible. We will be listening to silence here at Radio Kara. For those who left us, is this what must be done? To kill or not to kill? Is this all just? I need time to think about this.
You're not really human, are you? No. You're empty inside. Just like me.
I mean, he's not wrong. And so, after 10.5 hours, finally, we escaped the ruins. But what would happen now? Would we pet the dog? Or would we really have the resolve to kill it? Next time, in Snowed In. Wait, what? God damn it.